In today's video, we are going to be cutting this handkerchief gown.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Jegalia Apparel. If you're here to subscribe to this channel, please do that right now. Thank you so much. So let's get started. So I folded the fabric into 4. As you can see, I folded into four equal parts. Okay, and then the measurement I'm going to be taking is the waist measurement. All right, so now the waist circumference I'm working with is 38. Now 38 divided by 4 is 9.5. okay, and then I just marked that. The next thing is to measure the lowest length you want the skirt to get to. Right side I marked 25, okay, and on the left side I marked 25. Just draw it down and then connect it to the other 25 down, okay, as if your drawing is a square. All right, that's how it is, as simple as that, as though you are drawing a square. So you see the way I just jotted that down and then connected it to the other side. Now the next thing is just to cut out this edge, which is the waist. All right, and there we have it. Can you see the shape that we have? So just watch me as I open it up completely. Can you see the shape that this gives us? And now for you to see what I'm going to do, because it's going to have a zip at the back, okay, so I'm just going to open one side of the fabric, just one side of the fabric, okay, so and then open it up wide so that you can see what we have. So the next thing is we're going to be cutting the upper parts. You know, we're sewing a gown, it's not a skirt, okay, so we're going to be cutting the upper parts. I'm just going to be drafting the upper part. Now the measurement I'm working with, which is the upper part of the gown, is 17. The length I'm working with is 17. All right, so I'm not using the pattern paper, I'm drafting directly on the fabric, so you might not see the chalk very well, but just follow what I'm doing. Now the back measurement I'm working with is 16, so half of that is 8. This dress, the shoulder is cut together with the sleeve. I added 3 inches, we made it 11, so I just marked 11. And then the armhole measurement I'm making use of is 8, so I'm making use of 8 inches for the armhole. All right, and I'm just going to curve that with just ½ inch. All right, just ½ inch curve, as you can see. All right, just the way you curve your armhole, just a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is to mark out the neckline. Now the neckline is high, so I'm using 3 inches wide and 3 inches low. Right, so the width of the neck is 3, and then the is also 3. And I've also marked the shoulder slope, which is just ½ inch that I used. As you can see, I'm just going to connect it, which is a round neckline, as you can see. Right, so the next thing is to take the body measurement. The bust circumference I'm working with is 40, and 40 divided by 4 is 10. So I added 2 inches for seam allowance. All right, and then the waist measurement, the client actually, her waist and bust measurements are practically the same. She has big tummy, so I had to use the same measurement for her bust and also her waist. All right, so and then I just cut that out. So but before I cut it out, as you can see, I'm actually securing the fabric with a pin, because I don't want it to unravel when I'm cutting it out. So I'm just going to cut this out, and then you will see the way the shape is. Can you see that the shoulder was cut together with the sleeve? That is why the shoulder is wide. Please just watch what I'm doing, because after this we're going to be cutting the back. Right, we're going to be cutting out the back. So I'm just going to lay the fabric on the table so we can proceed to cut the back of this gown. All right, so what I'm going to do is to place the front on the back, but I'm going to be leaving allowance, which is 2 inches allowance.
All right, so I'm just marking out the start line. So I'm leaving 2 inches. That is what you can see me doing right now. Going to leave 2 inches and then connect all that together. So the measurement I'm working with, like I told you, for the top is 17. All right, that's the measurement I'm using, and then I'm just going to connect it and then lay the front on the fabric so that we can cut out the back. Now that extra measurement I did is for the zip, because there's going to be a zip at the back. Remember I said that when we're cutting the skirt, so the gown is going to have a zip at the back. And then the neck measurement I used is 2 inches because it's going to be high, so I just use 2 inches just to make it balanced. All right, so the front length is 3 inches while the back is 2 inches. All right, so I'm just opening up the back because there's going to be a zip at the back like I mentioned. Right now I'm cutting out the lining. Now this is where the work is. I'm going to be drafting out a bustier here. All right, so please just watch what I am doing. I was actually supposed to use another chalk. I'm so sorry. When I was drafting, I wasn't supposed to use white because it's not very visible, but don't worry, you will get what I'm doing. I'm using the same measurement I used on the lace fabric. Now the armhole measurement I'm using is 8 inches. That's the length of the armhole, is 8 inches. Though we are not going to be needing this upper part, because on the lace, if you look at the style very well, the lining stopped at the chest line. That is why we are making use of 8 inches. Right, so the shoulder slope is what I'm marking right now. I'm gonna head to draw the chest line, the bust point, under bust line, and also the waist line. I've done that. Now what I'm marking right now is the nipple to nipple measurement. Our nipple to nipple measurement is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that is what I'm marking. Now on this side I am taking in 1 inch, and on this middle part, that's the mid part of the chest, I'm taking in ½ inches. All right, so and then I'm marking that on the waistline and under bust line. All right, so that is where I'm marking it, and then I'll come to the bust point and come down by 1 inch. I'm coming down by 1 inch, and I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect that. All right, so I'm going to use my curve ruler because it's going to be a curve, so that you know we are drafting a bustier. Okay, a bustier. So this is how I'm curving it. I hope you can see. I'm so sorry for using this color of chalk. I should have used another color because I'm drafting directly on the fabric. Now on the chest line, I went in by ½ inch on both sides, both on the right side and on the left side. As you can see, I went in by ½ inch. So I'm just going to connect that together with the bust point, and then there we have our bust here. I hope you can see what I'm marking. So like I said, we're not going to be needing the upper part. All right, now I'm taking the measurement to make sure that what we have is 8 inch, because I don't want it to go beyond 8 inch so that it does not reveal her bust. She doesn't want it to reveal her bust, but she wants her cleavage to show a little bit. So I am making use of 8 inch. That's for the length of the neckline. That is what I'm making use of. So it's just a straight line. There's no sweetheart neck. There is no any form of princess dart or anything. So I'm just going to cut this out. So what I did was to raise, if you notice, I raised that by 1 inch. Okay, I raised the chest line by 1 inch. Like I said, she doesn't want her bust to show. So the next thing I'm doing is just taking her body measurement. All right, so the bust circumference I'm working with is 40 divided by 4 is 10. So I added 2 inches. So and on the waist measurement, like I mentioned before, her waist and her bust measurement is the same, so I am making use of the same measurement. And then the full length of it is 17. Remember, we've taken out 7 inches at the top, which we are going to cut off because we're not going to be needing it. So I'm just going to cut the rest of the fabric out now. So please just watch what I'm doing. If you're here to subscribe to this channel, please do that, and please give this video a thumbs up. If you have any question regarding the drafting of this outfit, please do feel free. As I said before, I actually drafted directly on the fabric, and I was actually also supposed to use a colored chalk and not a white chalk, so I'm so sorry for that. So if you have any question, please go right ahead. And now this is the back side. All right, so I also left 2 inches for the zip allowance, and I've gone ahead to draw the lines, which is the chest line, the bust point, and then the waist line. Okay, so and I also marked out the nipple to nipple, which is 4 inches. So I'm just going to take in half inch on both sides, which is on the under bust, from the under bust to the waistline. All right, so I'm just going to connect that from the bust point down to the waistline. All right, so the next thing is to take the body measurement. Remember, we took out half inch on both sides, meaning we have to restore back that half inch. So whatever measurement I am taking, I am restoring that 1 inch, which is half on both sides, so that we don't have shortage of fabric at the end of the day. All right, so I'm making sure that we have the same length that we have in front and at the back. So that's why I had to increase the chest line by 1 inch. So I'm just securing with a pin before we cut this out. So the next thing we're going to do is just to cut out what we have drafted. Don't worry, you'll get it. It's not as difficult as you think. Just get your fabric on the table and then take your actual measurement, body measurement, and then you will get it. All right, so I'm just going to cut out all the parts that we've marked out, the necessary parts that I'll be needing for this dress. So I'm just opening the mid part, which is going to have a zip. All right, so this is for the lining for the skirt. Now the lining on for the skirt is going to be fitted. It's going to be like a pencil skirt. So the lining inside is going to be like a pencil skirt. You know, the fabric is very revealing. Okay, so I'm just going to take the measurement, the waist measurement, and then add 2 inches for allowance. Okay, I'm just going to add 2 inches and then have waist to get the length for your hip measurement. Where you start from the hip, just mark 3-4 inches down. Okay, then you can start marking the hip measurement. And then I took the hip measurement. Her actual hip measurement was 48. Divide that by 4, and then I added 2 inches. You can see the shape I'm marking, and then there we have it. So I used for the lining, I used 20 inches because the lining is short. If you look at the dress, it's a very short lining. It shouldn't be too long, and it shouldn't be as long as the actual dress itself. So this is the lining for the skirt. All right, so we're going to cut the back side. All right, so I'm just going to lay that just the way we did for the front when we're cutting on the main fabric. So I'm leaving out 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches for the zip allowance, and I'm going to connect this together. I'm just going to connect all that together and then place the front on the back. It's as simple as that. Place the front on the back and then trim it out, and there you have it. Okay, there you have it. Very simple, very easy. It's something you can actually do. All right, so just calm down and do it. Now please give this video a thumbs up if you're yet to do that. Thank you. So let's continue. So I'm just going to open the back. As you can see, like I said, this is the back side, and it's going to have a zip at the back. Now these are all the patterns that we have drafted. I'm also going to be using the same fabric as lining, so I've drafted lining for each of the fabric, both front and back. Right, and then the next thing is to add interfacing on all the fabric. Now for the front, I used a wording, soft wording for the front,
So I'm just going to be joining the front together. It's time for us to sew. All right, so and I'm also going to join the lining together. So I'm joining the bustier in front, as you can see, joined, and I've also ironed it. As you can see, it's not as difficult as you think. And then this is the back. I also went ahead to stitch it and then iron it out. So everywhere you join, everything you join together, you stitch. Now we're going to be joining the lining to the fabric. Now we are stitching every side except the down part. Okay, and now you see I've joined the lining to the dress itself. Now, like I said, the inches we are making use of is 7 inches, 8 inches. It shouldn't be more than 8 inches before attaching the fabric, the lining on it. And that was what I did. So the next thing, I'm just going to stitch this as though there is a zip at the back. I'm going to stitch it up so that we can attach the skirt. I actually had to make this video a little bit fast because I didn't want this video to be too long. But trust me, something you can get. If you watch my other videos, you know how I make my outfit, how I sew. You'll be able to do this in no time if you just watch those videos. All right, so we're going to be joining the shoulder to shoulder, and then after that we will come back to stitch the sleeve part of the dress. Like I said, the sleeve is joined to the outfit. Now this sleeve, we're going to open it up and we're going to have tiny stitch. You see the way I'm folding it, very, very tiny. Okay, so we're going to go to the sewing machine and then do that, and then stitch the two sides. Take your body measurement and then stitch the two sides. So now there we have it. It's been stitched, and now the next thing is to attach the skirt. So I already marked out the midpoint for the skirt and also notched the mid part on the top itself. So we're going to connect the notch together so that we can have the mid part together, both on the skirt and on the top itself. So we're just going to stitch this round. Okay, then afterward I'm going to be, you can see the way I stitched the lining. Okay, you can see how I stitched it. So afterward I'm just going to be stitching the lining to the dress. All right, so I'm going to stitch the lining, and there we have it, all done. Okay, can you see how clean and neat this is? So the next we're going to do is to attach the zip. After attaching the zip, we're going to fold the edge of the dress. Okay, just tiny fold, very, very tiny, and there we have it. Can you see the dress? So let's see it on the mannequin. This is the dress on the mannequin. Can you see how beautiful this is looking? Handkerchief gown, so beautiful. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe if you're yet to, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.